I got a question from one parent who is seriously considering to move her kids from a brick and mortar school into online schooling. And today I want to share why I decided to move my kids to homeschooling. Welcome to Life Unedited, where I record memories for me, my kids, and their kids. And part of this community is raising kids well, dealing with family, even marriages, so just life issues that we face. And today, I want to talk about this homeschooling so that if you are considering it, you can just watch this video and have all the information that you want. The reality is drugs and negative influence were becoming a serious problem at their previous school. Just so I am transparent, this is not happening in all schools, but then when it comes to Kuro Thatchfield, this was a serious problem. And the issue is not just these drugs, it was also certain issues that I had with some of the teachers. For example, I went into a Zulu teacher and I said, I am not happy with my kid getting 60%. What can I do to help my kid so that he can get A in that subject? And that teacher was just so fine with my kid having 60%. And my standard is high, and I know how my son is capable to get those results. So even though the school curriculum tried to address these issues, it just wasn't enough. Some kids were selling drugs, others were drinking at school, and honestly, it was heartbreaking to watch. I noticed that many moms in Baptist communities were having great success with their kids studying online. So this is what I've noticed when I went to biblical counseling at a Baptist church, the one in Linwood. So I've noticed that they were actually doing well. Even the kids were doing well. They had more influence and more on what their kids should learn. And this is what I wanted for my kids. I want to have more influence, control what they learn. If I want to teach my kids Bible, there shouldn't be any system that stops me from doing that. They had better control over what their children were exposed to and learned. It gave me peace of mind knowing that my kids were in a safer environment. We had to move from the old school, which couldn't stop the problem, to a better place. For example, Sutherland was very strict and managed to remove kids involved in drugs, but that option wasn't available to us. We tried to move our daughter to Sutherland High School, but then it wasn't happening. Maybe there are other schools better than Kuro Thatchfield, but for us, online schooling was the best choice. And with the situation that was happening, I needed to be in control of what my kids are learning and the influence that they were getting. That's why I want to talk to you about Tinoyo Online School. And guys, this video, I am not getting paid by Tinoyo, but when something is good, I will promote it until more and more parents are actually homeschooling. It is a fully accredited platform with different packages tailored to your family needs and lifestyle. Let me explain how each package works. The Flexi package is perfect if you need flexibility. Lessons are recorded so your child can watch and learn anytime that fits your schedule. Great for working parents who need that freedom. So I know of a parent who actually removed her kid from a school where the kid was being bullied, and this was so worse to a point that the child was even willing to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, do the lessons before the mom went to work. So it did work for them, and that child is doing well. And another thing that I've noticed when it comes to online school is you get to access the pace, you get to control what your child learns, and also you get to understand what the child knows and what the child doesn't know. Whereas in schools, there are many kids in class and the teacher can move fast or can move slow. So those who are smart are actually being dragged into a lower pace. Those who are not smart, sometimes they are actually moving fast without having to adjust well. So when it comes to online schooling, you get to see what your child understands. So if your child is good in maths and not good in English, you can put the focus on English, and then the child gets a balanced life. As I said, the Flexi package works well for parents who are actually working. The next one is the Live package. So my son is actually on this one. It offers real-time interactive classes with qualified teachers and classmates. So your child follows a structured timetable, join live discussions, ask questions, and learn just like any other traditional school, but online. And what I like the most is my child cannot just wander without knowing what is happening, because the teacher, she is constantly watching. So it is mandatory for them to be online and for their faces to be showing. So the teacher is able to see who's concentrating, who's not concentrating, and if the child is not concentrating in a longer period, they are actually addressing that with the child. And if it gets to a point where the child is not really cooperating, they get the parents involved. So with the live classes, the only difference is There is no teacher who's sitting here. You watch the computer, the teacher is there, they are speaking, they are teaching. If you have any question, you can ask. Another thing that I like the most is the games that they played. The school curriculum is actually embedded in these online systems. So the child is able to play games, is able to understand, is able to go into discussions, is able to understand even more online while typing, playing. So it also improves their typing skills. It also improves their project. And maybe you might ask, how do they do maths? For example, if they are given a assignment, they can work out the maths on their papers and then upload that using CamScanner into the classroom. And that way the teacher can actually check if the child is actually doing well. But anyway, and while they are doing that, the teacher is constantly asking the child if they understand and what they got as an answer. So it is working best, guys. So when you go to Tineo's website, you'll be able to see different packages, the prices, and you are able to upgrade or downgrade based on what your child needs. So my daughter's doing the recorded session. She can start school at 9, she can start school at 2, she can study anywhere. She doesn't need to go into a live class. So she basically connects, go to the videos that were recorded during the live session, and then answer the questions that are asked, the assessments, the projects, and she's basically doing everything that she needs to do. And one of the subjects that she is doing, I think it's home economics, consumer studies. Yes, consumer studies. So if they need them to practice something, they actually go and buy all the ingredients, practice, record, and then upload that, showing their faces and while doing the work. So all of that is tracked properly. And one thing that I like again is the fact that I am able to see what they learn, what they finish, what they didn't finish. So if they didn't finish any assessment or homework, I actually get a notification that they didn't finish. That way I am able to address the issue before it even goes further. Some of you might ask, from what grade up until grade? So from grade R up until matric. Some of Tineo's matriculants have gone to study to top universities like UCT, Stellenbosch universities, and their 2024 matric pass rate was an impressive 94%. Now guys, 94% for an online school, I think that's good, guys. I think that is so good, because there are some schools which are not getting that. Think about it, guys. Some of these kids are actually teaching themselves by just watching the recorded lessons. Don't think that if you choose the recorded lesson, which is much cheaper, you won't be getting the best. You're actually getting the same class that the teacher conducted. The only difference is they're not able to ask questions live. So they can send an email to the teacher, they can ask any question anytime, and those teachers are responsive. Now let me show you the structure and how these classes are conducted, so you can see exactly how your child learning experience will look like. So your child will be given access like the way I am connecting now. They will have their own email address, and then as they connect, they go into this dashboard, and that's where they're going to attend their classes. So in this dashboard, they have their email address, they have this Canvas LMS, and then they have this Zoom that is embedded in this system. So when you click Canvas, you will see all the subjects, you will see the classes. So let's just go to calendar. So right now it is school holidays, and you would see like that there isn't anything. So if you go back, maybe like, let's just say, so when you go to this date, you would see that for this week, there was a class from 8:25 up until 14:15. So the first class, all he does is just connecting here. So it does explain exactly what they are going to do. So it will be a class like this, and the teacher will connect. And when the teacher connects, you will see their faces, like this one, for example. And then you will see the students as well. So obviously I'm not going to show you everything, but then just to show you how it's going to look, this is what the teacher will talk about. And see, when I say that the questions are embedded on this, you would see that they will ask questions based on whatever. So it's already added into this, and then there will be games sometimes. So this one, I think it was exam preparation. So when it comes to the dashboard, you will see exactly what is going on. And there's also a leadership board, and kids who are performing well, and then they'll be given something. And then you'll see all the subjects. So for example, if you want to know more about coding and robotics, so these are the subjects that my son, he's doing. And then I can just go there, contact the teacher, and then check what's happening, check what is recorded. So can you see that when it is marked, it means my child did attend the class, and there's recordings as well. You will see that for each and every day there is something, so you know exactly in advance what they are going to do. So for example, lesson 4 was internet and e-communication. So when you click that, there are even questions and lesson objectives and what they need to learn, and there's even more PDFs, and then they will know if there's no homework. So yeah, this is how you will basically see. And then when it comes to exam, you already know again what's going to happen. By clicking courses, you will see A+ notice board. You will see exactly what's going to happen and when. So my son is in grade 5. I'll just click grade 5 and then see assessment timetable. Then I would know for term 2, this is what I need to do and on which day. So for me as a parent, this is what I can just print and know. 15 April, this is the Zulu assessment. So there's assessments for each and every subject and for each and every term. And you can just go to grades and see their marks and how they are doing. So even if your child, you are not monitoring them, you just go to grades and see how they are doing. So you will see what they've completed, what they didn't complete, and which marks they got. Like for example, as you can see, that's 10 over 10, 17 over 20. So if you see 17 over 20 and you want to go and address whatever they got wrong, you just go to this and see what they needed to do, creative writing, and even more. So whatever they missed, you would see. One thing that is important and you also need to know is, while your online schooling keeps your kids safe, it's just as important to make sure that they stay socially active, joining sports clubs, youth groups, virtual student communities. There is even a subject where they just connect and just talk. And for working parents, you can just hire any other matriculant who's just come and monitor to make sure that your kids are connected, are doing the work. But then the teachers are already doing that. But we know when it comes to kids, they can just connect and not even watch the class. So they do need someone who just monitor them. If you want to learn more or get started with Tineo, just go to the website and do the application. They will ask you to upload the previous results and then proof of residence and also other documents which you will find there. And then after uploading, as soon as they confirm that your child is accepted, then you can pay the registration fee. Let's protect our kids, give them a strong education, and build a brighter future where we are in control. So for my son, we do have soccer, and then we also had piano lessons. So this just more. So my son is not struggling with social activities. Actually, I want to dim it because he has so many friends in the estates, and some of these friends are homeschooling. Let me just give you the benefits before I end this video. So one of the benefits is I am in control. I get to see what my child understands and focus on what they do not understand. 2, we are flexible. We can travel anytime, knowing that they can study anywhere around the world. As long as there's internet connection, my child can study anytime. So for example, the one who's doing live classes, if we are to travel, we can just communicate with Tineo and then they can do the video one, which is also a good option when we are traveling. Another benefit is we do not need to buy all these many books and stationery and pens. One thing that they promote is you do not need to throw away old books. You know how every year we buy books every January, and then at the end of the year, some of the books are left at school, some of them you basically don't use them anymore. So with Tineo, they'll tell you rip the pages that you are not using and use the same book, because most of the content is already in the system. So what they need the book for is just to practice, do projects, and all of that. And then another advantage is I do not need to wake up early and take my kids to school. So the traffic and all, I do not need to struggle about that. Another benefit is I do not need to prepare lunch boxes and all. They can just eat from home. So I buy more now that they are at home, and I tend to buy what they like the most. So that is also a cost saving. Another one, we used to pay around 7,200 for one child at Kuro, but now we pay even less, even with the live classes. I think the live classes is 4,250, and then the recorded session, it is 3,000 something. So from paying 16 to 17,000 for both my kids, now we pay around 6 to 7, and then obviously there's soccer and more. Whereas before we would pay soccer as well at school, and he wasn't even getting picked. Now we have the best soccer club where he is attending, and I see progress when it comes to that. Another advantage is, you know how at school they will spend time from 8 o'clock, you move around to different classes, you walk, and then you get there, the teacher's not in the mood. No, when it comes to online schooling, especially Tineo, you know the teacher will be there. And then the time that they specified, the teacher will be there and they will be doing the work. So from that time, that 45 minutes, they are going to do work. Whereas at school, it depends. If the teacher's not in the mood, the teacher can just make them watch a movie or not even care what they are doing. But then when it comes to Tineo, all of that is monitored, guys. All of that is monitored. Even with the assessments, it is self-marked. So the teachers do not need to mark more because the work already it is there. So they only mark the work where they have to write, they have to present, they have to do. So when it comes to presentations, they also do presentation for most of the subjects. So they will basically record themselves saying whatever they need to say on that project or maybe the presentations, and then they will get marked on that. So the teachers do not have to mark more because the system itself have those assessments, have those questions, and then they self-mark. So with the money that is saved, I am able to travel even more and give them more exposure, go to different places, go to different provinces, go to different countries. I don't know if you know that kids who are exposed, kids who are traveling more, they tend to do better in life. So many benefits when it comes to that, and I believe that my kids will go to homeschooling unless of course they decide they do not want. But at this point in moment, they just like waking up at 7, brush their teeth and have that freedom. It also give them independence and accountability. Like with my son, this time I told him, I'm not going to follow you, I'm not going to wake you up, I'm not going to check what assessment you are doing. You need to be responsible and follow that, and he's been doing well.